On the 25th of May 2020, a black American man, George Floyd, was arrested and pinned down to the floor by Minneapolis police officers. It took George Floyd 8 minutes and 45 seconds to die, with an officer's knee on his neck. It was all captured on film. Mr. Floyd's death triggered worldwide protests against systemic racism and police brutality. We began to look at our school curriculum and how it can be changed to reflect the experience and cultures of our whole school community. But it needs to go beyond this. The call for racial justice across the world propelled us as a school community to reflect on ourselves and our stance on racism. We want all students to be in a safe and welcoming environment, so we got to work.
Every single student at AGSB needs to get involved with this movement, as that's what it is, a continuous movement towards an anti-racist future. There's a difference between being not racist and being anti-racist. It is not enough to say, I'm not racist, because racists are people who talk openly about white superiority or who commit individual acts of meanness or cruelty towards people of colour. You needn't be a member of the KKK or the EDL to be racist. If we are to tackle racism successfully, we must all engage in the struggle.
While a not racist person will just stand on the sidelines, witnessing racial discrimination, an anti-racist person will get involved, challenging the perpetrator, calling racism out. This movement will not just go away and be forgotten about, as it has been time and time again. We constantly need to be reminded of the importance of racial equality, and this time we will not forget. We as a school will strive towards and undoubtedly achieve this, just as the rest of the world should and hopefully will. And it all starts with you, the students, being actively anti-racist. Some of you may think that this movement is a trend, and I want to emphasise that you are wrong in thinking so. This is not a tokenistic hashtag trending for a few weeks and then disappearing. It is clear to see how importantly myself and others at the school are taking this matter, and one cannot deny our commitment to the fight against racism. So I'm asking everyone to be an anti-racist for not just a week or a month, but for the rest of their lives.
Our anti-racism work is part of our wider anti-bullying work. We are a proud anti-bullying school, and our attitude to racism is the same as our attitude to bullying. There is no room for our AGSB. By committing personally to this pledge, you are making a positive commitment to the school values and to supporting and protecting all the other members of our school community.
To be anti-racist, you must be willing to take action where you see racism and suppress it. Taking action as an anti-racist will look different for everyone, but each action will count. Combating racism can take different forms. First, we must understand what it is. Racism is prejudice plus power. Starting a dialogue about race and racism amongst ourselves is a first step to greater understanding the harm and damage it causes to our friends, peers, families, and society in general. Ask those important questions. How does what I say or what I do impact others? Often you will find yourselves in positions of privilege. How you act in those situations will make a huge difference.
There are common misconceptions that are often thrown in the way of beginning our work on anti-racism, such as surely all lives matter, don't they? Does this mean the school believes all other lives do not matter? No. In saying that all lives matter, you are undermining the ideas that black lives do in fact matter. It shouldn't be a problem where someone thinks black lives matter and therefore should not need to be overridden by all lives matter. All lives do matter, in the sense that all lives have intrinsic value. However, the phrase, all lives matter, has seemed to come into popularity simply as a response to Black Lives Matter. This is where the problem arises. The harsh reality is that black lives have been continually neglected, and the prospect of black lives being equally important in no way threatens the lives of others.
Black people are more likely to be stopped and searched by police than white people. Black students fare worse in education than white students. If you are white and go into a shop, you are less likely to be followed by security staff. And if you are white, you can turn on your TV and open the front page of your paper and see people of your race being represented in a positive light. The fear is that some say the BLM movement has been hijacked and become a political movement open to the influence of the more extreme elements in society. Isn't that a danger? No. For us, we are not interested in political agendas. We don't see Black Lives Matter as a political cause, but rather a movement that's allowing everyone to understand that black people and people of colour are still being discriminated against in ways that people who are white are not. Because we believe that Black lives also matter, we may use the term. This does not mean that we are persuading students to follow any ideology. Our aim is to keep everyone safe, happy, and to get the very best from school. We want every student to feel that they can learn without discrimination or fear.
It's also been said that prejudice exists beyond that perpetrated by white people. Isn't that just as important to tackle? Well, yes, it is. We recognise this. We're not blind to the fact that there is prejudice within and between other ethnic groups and people of colour. The difference is that those groups do not hold the power to influence and impact on the lives chances of others. They do not hold the levels of power, nor do they make or enforce the laws. The laws that discriminate against people of colour are predominantly made by white people, so it's up to white people to make sure that all people are treated equally in society. The difference is that, and that's why we have to commit to being active in combating racism. It's not enough to say, I'm not racist and leave this work up to others. Neither are we saying that white people do not experience hardship in life, suffer from poor educational outcomes, or unemployment and a lack of opportunity. It's just that your skin colour hasn't contributed to the difficulties in your life.
Well, what have we done so far? All staff, teaching and non-teaching have begun their journey to being an anti-racist. They have spent an inset day understanding something about what it is to be a young person of colour in education. The senior leadership team have undergone their own education around the wider topic of racism within a white-dominated society. The heads of year have begun their training already, and a small group of governors have volunteered to undergo the same experience. The Student Council held discussions during lockdown to ask the school to react in more than a tokenistic way to the death of George Floyd. We wanted to do more than take the knee. We wanted our school to lead the way in Trafford in doing something more meaningful, daring and challenging. To become anti-racist in all we do and adopt it as a school value to go alongside our other school values. To include it in the school development plan as the main priority for this year. Some of the Senate have also instigated a BLM forum across several of the Trafford schools who are interested in following our example.
Over the next few days, a letter will be going home to your families to read, explaining to them what it means for us to become an anti-racist school. Then, all the students and staff will be invited to commit to our AGSB anti-racism pledge. AGSB is an anti-racist school. We pledge to respect others and celebrate differences, take responsibility for my actions and call out and report racist behaviour from others, learn about different cultures and how to be actively anti-racist, and be resilient, proud and unwavering in my commitment to anti-racism, both within AGSB and beyond.
Together we will stand up for what is right, protect and care for each other, especially our black students and students from ethnic minorities. We will no longer allow racism in any form by any member of our community to be tolerated. We will learn together as a school community about the evils of racism, the history of racism and how systemic racism works. At some point in this academic year, we would like everyone to demonstrate their commitment to the cause of anti-racism by signing the AGSB pledge. By committing to the pledge, each of us will take responsibility for our actions and we will learn and grow together as an anti-racist school. Thank you for listening and we look forward to your commitment to the pledge.